Good evening, this is the Oscar Expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time to review All That's Left of You, directed by Chireen Dabras. This is an epic drama told from 1948 to 2022 that follows three generations of a Palestinian family. It starts out in the near present day. There's a scene where the son of the family appears to get shot, and then the rest of the film is asking, how did we get here? How did we get to this moment where the son is protesting, like, who is the son? You know, you get to know who is the mother, who is his father. Essentially, the film is trying to do no less than chronicle the history of Palestine and the West Bank and capture the essence of the Palestinian experience. The film sort of moves from chapter to chapter in like quite a linear fashion. And I think it really has on its mind that like, yeah, we just need to like get all of this history into one movie. Like we really need to distill a lot of information without like preaching to you about the history, just really giving the audience the sense of where Palestinian people's identity stems from. In the film, I think that's represented by this orange farm that the grandfather owned. He had ownership and like pride in this thing, and then he lost that to land occupation from the Israelis. And then the rest of their lives, they kind of live it out in this small apartment, not able to amass any kind of like generational or lasting wealth. The director of the film also stars here as the mother of the most recent generation, and the film opens with this shot of her looking directly at a camera, talking to somebody that we don't know who they are yet, and saying, you know, I have to start from the beginning. I have to tell you the story. Yeah. And I thought that was a really powerful way of starting to film, because the urge for her to tell this story to the audience and to provide this context, especially now, conversations around Israel and Palestine seem to need a lot of context. And I understood by the end this director's need to go back in time and start from where she started and to tell this story over many generations. And this family story seems to represent the struggles of all Palestinian people and different attitudes that maybe the grandfather has from his son about how to resist and how to fight. It was the longest movie we saw at Sundance, but it was very impactful. Like there was certainly a weight to sitting in the theater for 2.5 hours and witnessing so much of this family's history. What I think the film did really well was give the characters strong perspectives and ideals, and the main conflict of the film is those ideals battling it out. There's also some really interesting questions of morality and how the family deals with themes like forgiveness. There's a lot packed in here, but it really is very character driven. I think this was really well done. Like in terms of what it set out to do, it absolutely achieved that, and the audience gave an immediate standing ovation, which I haven't seen at any other film at Sundance. They absolutely loved it. It worked really well on the crowd. It's something that anyone can come into and understand completely. That being said, I wasn't quite on the level of like the standing ovation crowd, given that the story was pretty straightforward. It felt like a little bit stilted to me. Like, I don't think it's doing anything wrong, but it's not like quite the style that captivates me the most. It's the kind of story where you know what it wants to make you feel at every moment. You know, it's not the best way to like impact me with a movie, but I'm gonna totally acknowledge that for most people this is gonna work really well. And I think it's kind of like I'm Still Here in that sense, where that was a movie I was a little less emotionally involved in than other people. Even though some people felt like this was an overwhelming experience for them to watch that film. But it was almost too straightforward in its storytelling that I didn't find something to like latch onto. I don't know what it is, like when the story is just presented as straightforward as that, I don't cling to it as much. Yeah, I think that for me, I'm more engaged in a movie when I'm like actively kind of grappling with it. And this movie, you know, it was very easy to be right where the film wants you to be, right where the characters are. There were definitely some scenes that had me a little bit more engaged with some deeper questions and more complicated questions, especially in the third act. Yeah, they really go there. But I can't even begrudge the filmmaker for wanting to tell it in this way, because it's going to impact the intended audience, which is, I guess, everybody. She wants a wide audience to see this film. She wants it to be powerful for any Palestinian person. And if it took like an indie approach where, you know, the critics were going to eat it up, but other people were going to be like so on it, then that would have totally defeated the purpose. I think this is going to be a really powerful film for Palestinians, and I think it'll be powerful for anybody who watches it. You know, something that resonated with me in this film that I haven't really like felt before, even though I understood it like in my brain, is like this attachment to land and this attachment to place as a source for meaning. So with this final generation, the thing that's lost is meaning, is the future, and looking back onto the past and deriving meaning from that makes sense as an answer to when you don't have a future. I think the performances here were all really good too. Yeah, the director was excellent. Yeah, she's a really good actress. Great in this movie, as well as Saleh Bakri and Mohammed Bakri. Yeah, great performances. I mean, if this is Palestine's submission for the Oscar this year, which very well could be, I think that could be nominated.
It probably will be. I feel like this was a challenging movie to make, just given like the amount of scenes, the amount of material here. The audience really ate this up. Like people were crying throughout the whole entire second half.
I am curious who picks this up. Looking at No Other Land and how that doesn't have distribution, despite being the obvious frontrunner for documentary, like I don't know what's going to happen. If the right studio was behind this, I think it has a lot of potential to do big things.
I would strongly recommend this. For me, this is a light 8 out of 10.
I give it this a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Is your family history important to you?